How to See Stars, Aries and Taurus. Welcome back again, and hi there if you're new. In this piece, we're going to find the star constellations of Aries the Ram and Taurus the Bull in the winter Northern Hemisphere sky. This video is a part of a go-at-your-own-pace, homeschool for grown-ups, beginner course in Alternative Astronomy, where we've been learning to identify the star constellations of the Northern Hemisphere sky by season of the year. There's a playlist that you can find here on our channel to help you catch up if you need to, because we're going to be picking up on things we've already learned as we dive back in here to get to know the constellations of Aries and Taurus in this piece. As we begin, we're going to take a look at an image of how the Northern Hemisphere sky appears, this time during the beginning of February, the hour after the sun is set. Now we're going to use the knowledge that we've already learned to find Aries the Ram first. Now, in previous lessons, we've already learned how to identify the constellations of Cetus, Pisces, and Pegasus. And as we're tracking them, as you can see here now in the beginning of February, Cetus, Pisces, and Pegasus are now found all to be to the west side of that special cross of the north-south meridian line and the arc of the ecliptic in the real all-seeing eye in the sky. Now, if you look just a bit eastward or to your left of Pisces location, just above the head of Cetus, there sits Aries the Ram. Now, Aries is a small constellation, but is usually easy to find because of Aries' bright stars. But Aries is one of those constellations that makes it a little bit difficult to see how our ancient ancestors saw a ram there, right? But perhaps they saw the ram's horn there. Now, I raise this question because when you trace back both Aries and Taurus history as star constellations, you find that these are some of the oldest constellations you can find, going all the way back perhaps again to a time before we as people had developed the written word yet. But when we did develop it, very soon after is where you start finding many stories about, for example, lambs and rams, even very famous stories that show up in religious texts in more than one symbolic or representational way. For example, where characters within certain stories are sometimes about shepherds tending to their flocks. But here we're learning more and more about these tales that some might call heavenly tales are really stories about how the real heavens move above all of our heads. So from this perspective, it really is the truth that can be known through these stories, but only once you stop just believing in the story as it's being presented and look at what it's really describing, which we can clearly see now through this lens of alternative astronomy. Now, from Aries location, keep looking just slightly more toward the east, or again toward your left from Aries location, and lined up right at the special cross of the north-south meridian line in the arc of the ecliptic, you should be able to easily find Taurus the Bull. First, locate the star cluster called the Pleiades. It's at the western edge of the constellation of Taurus, and it shines very bright. Then from there, see if you can find the bright reddish star called Aldebaran within the constellation of Taurus. This is known as the bullseye. The Pleiades and Aldebaran are two of the best and brightest features of the constellation of Taurus that makes it so easy to locate in the night sky. Now, like Aries the Ram, Taurus the Bull is also one of the oldest constellations known, and it's easier to see from the way that Taurus is shaped in the night sky how our ancient ancestors saw a bull there, right? Like Aries, Taurus is also found in many ancient stories and religious texts, where Taurus is represented in allegory, where the storytellers are alluding to, once again, the reality of the real heavens that is cycling night after night and day after day above all of our heads, the same way that it's always been, perhaps, at least for thousands of years, maybe forever, which is why I think that it's called the eternal heavens in many ancient texts. Much of the information that came from this piece comes from our book series, Constellations by Campfire for the winter season, and you can find the link below in the description box to get your copy, along with a link to our shop to find the Aries the Ram and the Taurus the Bull designs featured in this piece. We're going to be talking much more about Aries and Taurus in future pieces, but for now, step outside the month of February, the hour after the sun sets, face south, and look up at the real all-seeing eye or the real oracle in the sky, and see if you can spot Aries, and you hit the bullseye if you can spot Taurus too. Until next time, stay lit and be well.